is the strongest magnetic force in the universe. Each time we choose love, we enjoy life more. Each time we choose love, we enhance the quality of our life. Each time we choose love, life seems brighter and clearer. Love heals. Love soothes. Love elevates. Love forgives. Love gives us hope. Love brings us joy and abundance. Love makes us grow. Love feels good. Love makes life colorful. We are all here to learn about love, to love yourself more, and therefore others. Real love is selfless and free from fear. It's joy in the pain. Love more. Love is the thing that makes all things beautiful. Speaking of love,
what an incredible way to honor her father and help others heal from the loss of a loved one due to suicide.
Welcome to Speaking of Love, the podcast, and I am your host, Latoya. I created this podcast in honor of my dad, who was an amazing guy. He had an infectious laugh, and his spirit was magnetic. He was the type of guy who made everybody feel like somebody special. If you were to place him in a crowded room of 100 people, my dad would be the smartest person in the entire room. He was an award-winning radio TV broadcast engineer for many years. Born and raised in the city of Detroit, he was one of the first to go to college in his family. And while attending Wayne State University, he developed a lifelong love affair with the game of basketball. He was the shortest point guard on the team, but he could slam dunk the basketball with either hand. By all outward appearances, my dad lived a rewarding life, but there were parts of him that were known to only him. On March 2nd of 2020, my dad's private struggles became public when he took his own life in a murder-suicide. When he died, a part of me died too. And since the tragedy, I have become an advocate for mental health awareness and suicide prevention. I also created this beautiful podcast in honor of my dad and others like him who are struggling with the effects of mental health challenges. My podcast, Speaking of Love, is named after a show my dad once hosted called Speaking of Sports. Thank you for taking the time to be here with me today as we take a journey in pursuit of the strongest magnetic force on the planet Earth, and that's love. Hello, and welcome everyone to Speaking of Love, the podcast. I am here today with Maura Condon Umble. She's here today from Lancaster, Pennsylvania. She's here to talk to us about a very serious subject matter. I am going to introduce her. She is a retired college administrator who lives in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. Since her son Alex died by firearm suicide in 2018, she has become an advocate for gun violence prevention and firearm suicide prevention. She's a lead volunteer for Moms Demand Action. She serves on the board with CeaseFirePA, and was appointed in 2025 to the Executive Committee of Pennsylvania's Office of Gun Violence Prevention. Please, everyone, help me welcome Mrs. Maura Umble. Thank you for being here, Maura.
Thank you, Latoya. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so honored to be here.
Thank you for being here. We're going to talk today. I know that you do a lot of advocacy work and you're working in the space of suicide prevention with firearm. But right now, I want to focus the interview to talk about your precious son, Alex, who was 24 years old when he took his own life. If you want to start the interview by just telling us a little bit about Alex, who he was, what he was like as a child, and how life started out for him.
Sure. Thank you. Um, Alex is the middle of three children. So his two sisters, older and younger. And he was always just a sweet kiddo, just a sweet, lovely kiddo. He um, he was always a funny, like always able to make us laugh in the household. The children always got along really well. My sisters used to say that my children had their own secret language that, only they knew because they were just so close and so tight. But, in any household, especially, maybe during the teenage years, tensions can rise here or there. But it seemed like anytime anybody was getting a little antsy or a little angry or whatever, Alex would just turn the page on it and just say something that made everybody laugh. And he was like a real sort of peacemaker. Um, and it was after he was gone that the word that everybody used to describe him was kind. Just his kindness was I mean, I always hoped I raised kind children, but his kindness is something that really stuck out to people. And it's interesting because he was a very aggressive athlete, a very serious lacrosse player, played lacrosse for his whole life, like, and into college. And lacrosse is such a sort of, he was in the attack position on the lacrosse field, and such an aggressive position. And I sometimes, but at the same time, he was kind of a sensitive kid and so kind. So he had kind of a lot of different aspects of his personality. But yeah, really sweetie pie.
So he was your middle child. You have three children. Was he the middle child?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, wonderful.
Yeah. And they were all pretty close in age, like 2 years apart.
Okay, so your only son.
Yeah.
So talk to us about your advocacy work. Your son passed away suddenly, and you have dedicated your life to helping others. So talk to us about your mission and what you're doing right now.
So it took me a minute, well, I was still working when we lost Alex, and I worked for another few years until I kind of hit a wall. I couldn't, I just, the grief was so heavy, and my therapist used the term, I was white knuckling it through every day, trying to maybe compartmentalize, do this. I had a pretty important role on a college campus at that time, and it was so busy. And I finally sort of hit a wall and just had to retire. I retired early because I didn't really have a choice almost. I just couldn't work anymore. So then I had time, which I hadn't had in a long time because I've always worked, really hard, really more than full time.
Mhm.
But but I think at first after I retired, I just had to start to come to terms with what actually happened. So it took a minute, but then I was like, okay, I have time. I'm a smart person. I have skills to give, and I certainly have passion about Well, I didn't really know at first where my passion lied, other than just trying to find a way for other families not to have to go through what we're going through. Trying to find a way to end suicide, and I particularly have been focused on firearm suicide.
Okay.
But at first, I didn't know how to do that. It's such a complicated topic. And, do I want to focus on the mental health side of things? I didn't even at first consider going down the path of trying to do something about reducing gun violence, because I thought that was too steep a hill to climb, too difficult because of the of our society and how entrenched guns are into our society. So it took me a while before I sort of found my way. I just wasn't finding my niche to sort of try to make make way in this whole topic of suicide and prevention. And I finally well, actually, one day, so there's an organization, as you probably know, called Every Town for Gun Safety, and Moms Demand Action is sort of Every
A
Town is the
subcategory.
umbrella. Yeah,
Mhm.
exactly. And I was on their texts and stuff. I was getting their texting information. One day I got a text from Every Town, and it said, see, you might want to get involved in a local chapter. And I was like, I didn't really know that there was one here around here. And so I put in my zip code, and lo and behold, that very night, there was a Moms Demand Action meeting a few blocks from my house.
Mhm.
And I thought, okay, there's a sign there that says it's telling me something that I need to go to this meeting. And I showed up at this meeting, and the people there were just so welcoming and so loving, and just I felt like I was being given a big hug by them in my sadness and grief. And so I started getting involved in Moms Demand Action, which led to me discovering Ceasefire Pennsylvania, where, as you said, I'm now on the board there. And then I also just recently was appointed to this Office of Gun Violence Prevention Executive Committee out of the governor's office. So there's a lot going on. I feel like I have these different directions that
Mhm.
I'm working with, the different organizations that I'm working with, and trying to sort of make sense of it all, trying to sort of help these organizations collaborate a little bit to gain more momentum. But
So just to back up a little bit,
yeah,
your son passed away in 2018.
yeah,
He died by suicide firearm, and
yes.
that his tragedy sparked you into being this huge advocate. You're working with these organizations, and your job is it to educate people about gun violence via suicide, or is it to prevent? Because in the country we live in, of course, suicide prevention, over half of the people who die by suicide die by firearm. That's just throughout the United States. So
And yeah, oh, go ahead.
with the organization that you belong to, is it more ceasing the gunfire, or is it to end suicide prevention? I'm sorry, is it to put an end to suicide, or is it to end the gunfire?
Well, so the other stat, you mentioned a really important stat. The statistic that I did not know until I started getting involved in these organizations, that is the motivating factor for me, and sort of my kind of gets me fired up, is, you know, I, gun, gun violence is a big problem in our country, but most people don't know that most gun deaths in this country and in Pennsylvania and in my county are suicides. Most gun deaths are suicides. People think about homicides and mass shootings and all the other horrible things that are happening, people don't realize that most gun deaths in this country are suicides. Did you know that, Latoya? You probably knew that.
Yes, I knew that.
But not a lot of people do. People are shocked by that stat. And so one thing that I've learned is that, so I'm getting around to your question. One of the things that I've learned is that in order to stop firearm suicide, which is sort of the area that I've decided to focus most of my energy, um, first, we do have to educate people. We have to talk about it. We have to start talking about this fact that most gun deaths are suicides out in like the public square, the proverbial public square. Because if we're not talking about it, if people don't know about it, we can't stop it. And people, it's not on the evening news like homicides are, mass shootings. It's there's such stigma and shame associated with it. So it's very hard for our society to talk about it. But so one of my goals is to simply, I mean, it's not simple, but the simple idea is to get people talking about how people are dying, how that the fact that most gun deaths are suicides. That's
Yes,
one
and there's a
thing.
statistic that shows too that if you have a gun in your home and people who are feeling suicidal, if they have a gun in the home, they are 3 times more likely to complete suicide when there's a firearm in the home.
Yep.
So I know there's been legislative talks about people with mental illness, people who are being medicated for different types of mental health conditions, that those individuals will not be allowed to purchase a firearm with that medical history, because those are the people who unfortunately end up taking their own lives. For example, my father, he died by gunfire in a murder suicide, but a year before his death, he went and purchased the gun.
Yeah.
And at the time of the purchasing of that firearm, he was under a doctor's care. He had been taking medication. He had been feeling down and out, not himself. So, an individual like my father, with those medical conditions being monitored by a doctor, should not have been allowed to purchase a firearm. And
Right.
people asked him, hey man, what are you doing with a gun at your age? And he says, oh, well, I like to go to the casino at night, and, I want to be protected walking out of there if I win a lot of money. But really, was that the real reason that he really purchased the firearm? Those questions, that answer we'll never know. But
Right.
it's putting an end to the people having the ability to just go and legally purchase a gun.
The easy access in this country to firearms. Yeah. It's if we didn't have such easy access to firearms, there's no question that suicides would go down. And so and our lawmakers, our legislators are so protective of the Second Amendment that they will not allow themselves to see that they can save lives by changing some of these laws. Yeah, like the law that we do not have here in Pennsylvania that has been voted on. It was voted against by one vote in the state house last year, is the ERPO, the Extreme Risk Protection Order law, which the way they're written in most states, as I'm sure you know, Latoya, is if a law enforcement officer or a family member believes that a person is in danger of hurting themselves or others, the family member or the law enforcement officer can go to court and get an order from the judge that disallows that person in danger to purchase a weapon, or it allows those weapons to be taken away temporarily from that person. That law saves lives. In my home state of Connecticut, where I grew up, they have that law. It's saving lives, but we voted it down here in Pennsylvania. for political reasons, right? Because people don't want to be, a lot of people just feel so strongly about the easy access that easy access to guns is important. And the lawmakers are afraid to lose their spot. And so they vote in ways that really don't make sense, I think. Oh, I can't hear you, Latoya.
So you've dedicated your life to making a difference as a result of the loss of your son. So what do you love most about what you're doing right now? Like what feeds your soul? What pushes you to go forward to be a voice for those individuals who need help?
Yeah, well, what do I love most about this work? In a way, it's a tricky question for me because I I wish I wish I wasn't in this position. I wish that of course, like I wish that none of this happened and that I was blissfully unaware of work being done in our country and in our state on this front. Um, so I don't know if I think I don't know if I really love this work. I feel compelled to do it.
Mhm.
I do feel passionate about it, but I kind of hate that I'm doing it too, in a way, you know what I mean? Because it's just so painful. Every what I'm trying to balance in my life, I think, is my desire and my passion to sort of one, honor Alex, um, and uh, sort of make the loss, um, or turn around the loss a little bit in order to prevent other losses from
Yeah,
in other families.
it sounds like you don't want your son to die. You didn't want his loss to be in vain.
Yeah,
You're
exactly.
making a difference from you have a picture of Alex. We'd like to see it if you could show us what it is and describe.
Sure.
Yeah.
So my Alex's happy place was on the lacrosse field,
Bring it a little
and
closer. Oh, there we
how's,
go.
how's that?
Okay.
Um, so he's such a handsome guy. This was in high school, where he was captain of the lacrosse team, and you look at the smile on his face. He was a really good player and just really like loved the teamwork and loved his teammates. And he wasn't I don't know if he would be consider himself to be a natural leader, like as a captain, but he rose to that occasion and he was respected. I think because he sort of that kindness again. I think that uh kindness and sort of strength combined for him to be a good captain and a good leader. But yeah, so he was geez, so handsome, so sweet, so strong,
Mm.
so happy there, you know?
You know, Maura, I want to talk about when the tragedy occurred, as you look back over it, because with suicide, hindsight is always 2020. Were there any warning signs? Did you know that he was struggling? Were there any indicators to let you know that your son wasn't okay?
Yeah, I mean, he was depressed. He left college early. He didn't graduate because he started struggling with depression in college. And he came home a couple of times and went back, like took a leave and went back and took another leave and went back. But then he came home and he was certainly not thriving. But I I th- I think that I don't know if this is just a parent, like as a parent, you can't even imagine that your child would consider doing this. So as I mean, I knew he was depressed and he was under the care of a psychiatrist and a psychologist. About it was about him. He was he was kind of avoiding help for a long time and avoiding talking about it. But he finally admitted that he was really struggling. And this was like about the real sort of openness started to happen about a month before we lost him. But so he was under the care of a psychiatrist and a psychologist. He was taking the medications and going to therapy. And I actually, in reality, he was clearly not getting better or being, the treatment was not working clearly. But in my head, he was, finally agreeing to go to therapy and to see a psychiatrist and to be responsible with medication. And so I started having hope again. I've had this vision, like he always said that he loved the city of Baltimore and he could envision himself working in Baltimore someday. And um I imagined him, and he was a sports management major in college, and I imagined him doing something in the sports world, happily living in Baltimore, maybe meeting a girl. And, I just imagined his life starting to take off when in fact he was sinking deeper, but not letting anybody know it.
Mm-hmm.
So I think he was protecting us from understanding the depth of his despair because of his kindness, like in a topsy-turvy kind of way. So on the one hand, yes, I knew he was depressed. On the other hand, I couldn't I couldn't conceive of the idea. I didn't
Sure.
I couldn't conceive of the idea of suicide.
Sure, of course. Yes, because these are our loved ones and we don't want to see that. It's a reality that no one wants to face. Even if you see your child struggling and they're
Yeah.
doing well, and if you get just a small slither of hope,
Yes.
it's like you can hold on to that small
Yes.
slither of hope that they're making progress, they're seeing a doctor, they're taking medication, and it's
Yeah.
like we hold on to that because of the love that we have for our loved one. And it's like,
Exactly.
we're going to be okay. Oh, he's going to the doctor. He's taking his medicine. He's fine. But in all actuality, we really, really don't know. In humans, we are the master disguisers. We will disguise things, and you may not know what to look for. I know for
Right.
myself, I didn't know what to look for with my dad. I didn't know what the warning signs were. But now that he's no longer here, I can see that the signs were there all along. So,
Mm.
Maura, if there is someone watching right now or listening and they're feeling suicidal, they don't want to be here anymore, they're tired, life has been difficult for them, what words of wisdom would you offer someone
Mm.
to just hang in there and stay with us a little bit longer?
Yeah.
Talk, talk to that person right now.
Well, I guess what I would want to say is that depression is temporary. Depression is treatable. And you just have to get the help and talk to your family and talk to a therapist and keep trying to have the strength to work at it. It is treatable. I feel like my son didn't give it enough time. And and if you can just wait and wait and wait, and it's going to be better. It's you have to find the right medication, perhaps. You have to find the right therapist. But if you give it that time and a little bit of energy, so many people love you, and it's I think that a lot of times, I came to the conclusion with my own son that it was not. I used to think it was a decision that he made to die by suicide. I don't actually think he made a decision, or maybe that's kind of because I can't handle the idea that he could have made that decision. I think he didn't see any other way. There was no other way to see it. From his perspective, I believe. But again, I don't think he waited enough. I don't think he gave the treatment enough time because it is treatable. I mean, people live with depression on great medications for their whole lives. They live happy lives.
Hmm. But also, too, Maura, every person is different, and every person's path to a better life is different. And your son was not well. Like, we can rationalize it. I can say my dad should have waited or he shouldn't have done this. But really, Maura, the brain is an organ and it gets sick sometimes.
Yeah.
And your son wasn't thinking the way you and I are thinking, because we're
No.
not in that we're not in that mental capacity of being depressed or mentally not well. I don't like to say
Right.
mentally ill, but mentally like what not
Yeah.
well. His brain was sick. He
Yeah. He
didn't
was in
he
so
didn't,
much pain.
didn't know he was in so much pain. He didn't know another way out of it.
Yeah.
And sometimes the path that they take it's the final analysis, but you and I know that it's not the final analysis. He could have gone on. He could have lived a greater life, but he didn't see any other way. And unfortunately, that was the illness that takes over the human mind. So, but just know that you can carry his love with you for the rest of your life. You're making a positive difference. You're helping other people, because if your son or my dad could have watched a podcast about this very
Yeah.
topic, they could very well still be here today
Yeah.
fighting. Every day is a fight. When you're going
Yeah.
through mental illness and depression and whatever your inner demons are, so to speak, whenever you're battling that, every day is a fight. And some days you just don't have the fight in you. And
Yeah.
unfortunately, the fight is over now. And
Yeah.
they finally have that peace that they were seeking after. They weren't seeking after to hurt us or to
I
bring us
know.
pain. They just wanted that pain to end, and they couldn't
Yeah.
live with it anymore. So, but I commend you. I am proud to have you here on Speaking of Love. Speaking of love for your son, your son Alex, and you will carry his memory and his love in your heart for the rest of your life. And I thank you for being here today.
Oh, thank you, Latoya. Thank you for all you're doing.
Yeah, suicide by firearm is a tragic way to die. And just
That is
know
for
that
sure.
you've done the best that you can do as his mom. Maura, when the pages of your life are reviewed and your mission here on the planet Earth is complete, what do you most want to be remembered for?
Um, I I mean, I might have I think that my answer has changed since we lost Alex, because I think I would have used I used to I might have said before that, raising happy children, raising, having a great family, having love. I mean, love is really, that word and the concept of love is really important to me too. Love is what it's all about. But then I lost this loved child. And so now I guess, I mean, I guess, my dream is that through this painful work that I'm doing, all these volunteer experiences that I'm having on this front, I mean, the dream is just saving other people's lives and saving other families from the heartache of this and the and the ridiculousness of this easy access to guns in our society. If we can, if I can have a role in making a difference on this front, then, that would be very meaningful for me.
Thank you, Maura. If anyone is listening right now and you are feeling suicidal, you don't want to be here anymore, I recommend you give the Suicide Lifeline number a call. The number is 988, just like you would dial 911 in a medical emergency or crisis. You can now dial 988. There are trained professionals there 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and they're here to help you. They may not be able to solve your crisis today. They may not be able to solve whatever is happening tomorrow,
but we are here for you. We can take you by the hand and guide you down a path of a better tomorrow, a better hope, and a better life. So just know that the help is there. Reach out. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. And I want to say to the people who have others in their lives, if you have someone in your life and that individual comes to you and they tell you, I'm feeling suicidal, I feel depressed, I don't think I can go on, the worst thing you can do is start to judge that person or start to criticize that person. You know, we always speak about get help, talk to someone, but we also need to have counseling and tips and tools for people who receive that type of news. If someone comes to you and they tell you, I'm not feeling myself, I don't feel well, the first thing you need to do is lower your voice.
Mm,
Talk kindly to them.
that's
Speak
right.
softly to them. Let them know that you are a safe place to land. Your bosom, your chest, your heart is where they are safe. Pull them closer to you. Talk to them in a soft voice. Don't ridicule them. Lead them to help. Get on the phone together. Call 988 together. Get them the help that they need because you might be the last stop before they make the final decision, so to speak. So I'm saying this because I know people who have divulged the fact that they are depressed or suicidal. And they'll tell their friend or loved one, you know, man, I'm just tired. I feel depressed. I don't want to live anymore. And the first thing that comes out of the listener's ear is, what do you mean? Are you kidding me? You can't be that weak. All that. You're talking like you're weak. You're stronger than that. Don't talk like that. Oh, you'll be fine. Those comments are the worst comments that you could deliver to anyone in that state of mind. You have to show up for them. You may not understand why they feel that way. That person can be a radio TV broadcast engineer with a camera on their shoulder driving around town in a Channel 7 news vehicle. That's how his life looks to you, but you don't know what that person is feeling on the inside of them. So show up for that person. Be kind to them. Don't judge them. Get them the help that they need. Because if you criticize them and you beat them up, what do you think is in the mind of someone who's already suicidal and depressed? They're already beating themselves up. They're already criticizing themselves. They already feel like the world is against them. And here you go, making them validating those negative feelings by coming down on them, by telling them that feeling this way is wrong in the world that we live in today. So just show up for that person. Be kind to them. Take them somewhere. Show them love. Don't criticize them. Oh, you have so much to live for. You can't talk like that. What about your kids? What about this? What about that? A person who's going through a crisis mentally, they want to leave because they feel like they're not worthy to be the father to those children. They feel like they're not worthy to be the great son to that wonderful mother. They don't see it the way a normal mind sees it. They see it in the mind of a person who's sick. So please don't push them away. Bring them closer to you. Don't push them further into the sadness. I think that's the message I wanted to get out today. So, Maura, is there anything else that you want to share with us about your work, about your wonderful son, Alex? Are there any final words that you'd like to give the audience on this topic today?
Um, I recently wrote a poem. I've never written a poem before, but I decided that it was a good way for me to express some of my thoughts about a related concern in how we, again, as a society, use language, um, how gun related and like mental health kind of issues, suicide issues, how language related to those things weaves itself into our everyday conversation in ways that I think are dangerous. Um, have you ever been sitting in a meeting, Latoya, when somebody will put their hand into the shape of a gun and put their
Mhm.
to their head and is a joke, like because this is such a boring meeting or something? Like that is just one of 1,000 things that happens every day in all of our conversations, which sort of make light of suicide, of gun violence, of mental health issues. And another one of my sort of missions in life is to draw attention to that kind of language and to try to squash it where I can.
Yeah,
And so that,
that emoji where there's the emoji with the head blown off. Sort of,
yes,
I cannot. I hate that thing. I do, and people will use that in text messages and
yes,
TikTok posts and things like that. That is one
yes.
emoji that they definitely need to get rid of.
Yeah, totally,
So
totally.
if you have a poem, Maura, go ahead. I'd love for you to read it right now
Are
to
you
us.
sure?
I want to hear it, please.
Okay, thank you. It's called Trigger is a Trigger.
Mm.
So well, you'll get it. This might be a trigger for you. Alex pulled a trigger. We brought out the big guns for that meeting. Alex brought a gun to the edge of a field. I'm going to shoot myself if my mother-in-law says that again. Alex shot himself. It's not like I put a gun to his head. Alex put a gun to his head. We're locked and loaded for vacation. Alex loaded a gun. I finally pulled the trigger on that decision. Alex pulled the trigger. She's a straight shooter. Alex shot a gun straight into his right temple. Just shoot me. Alex shot himself. I'm going to lose my mind if my nanny does that again. Alex died by suicide. I want to provide a trigger warning. Alex pulled the trigger. I don't know for sure. It's just a shot in the dark. Alex shot himself in the dark. That's a suicide mission. Alex died by suicide. I had to talk her off the ledge. Alex died by suicide. She committed suicide. Alex died by suicide. That's a loaded situation. Alex loaded a gun. Taking that job would be career suicide. Alex died by suicide. I'm going to lose the will to live if I have to rewrite that report. Alex lost the will to live. I need that like I need a hole in my head. Alex died by firearm suicide. This might be a trigger for you. Alex pulled a trigger.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. And you know what's so poignant about what you just said is that we use those expressions in everyday conversations, not realizing the impact behind those words, the energy behind those words. People talk like that every day, just in normal conversations.
I know. It
Not-
hits me. It
Yeah.
hits all of us all the time. And I didn't really notice it until we went through what we've been through. But now
Yeah.
it's like every time somebody says something like that, it's constant. I feel like somebody's slapping me in the face every single time. And it's
Mhm.
so painful. And I don't want people to walk on eggshells around me. It's not really about me. It's about this language should not be so just flitting around in our everyday conversations.
Yeah, editing your speech, sure. Well, thank you so much for being here today, Maura. You have
brought forth a wealth of information. Thank you so much for sharing your son with us today and just letting us know that, love is the thing that makes all things beautiful. And you have done all of this work in honor of your son because of love.
Yeah.
So thank you for being a guest here today on my podcast, Speaking of Love. And before we go, Maura, how do we get in touch with you? If there's anyone interested in connecting with you beyond this podcast, please provide your contact information.
Sure. My email address is MCondonUmble. That's my first initial, my middle name, Condon, my last name, Umble, at gmail.com. mcondonumble@gmail.com. My phone number, is it okay to give my phone number, Latoya?
Yes.
It's 717-333-3010. I'd love to hear from anybody who wants to join these efforts, wants to, I don't know, talk, whatever. It's a community.
I have your email here on the screen. Is this correct?
Yeah, perfect.
Umble@gmail.com.
Yeah,
mcondonumble@gmail.com. And give your phone number again, Maura.
sure. It's 717-333-3010.
Well, thank you so much for being here, Maura. You are
Thank
amazing.
you.
Keep up the great work. Keep working in honor of your son. You are saving lives, and just know that your voice matters and it makes a big difference in the life of someone who really needs your support and your love. So thank you for being here. This was Speaking of Love, episode number 152, featuring Maura Condon Umble. This podcast episode will be available on YouTube forever. It will be on Facebook as well for about 30 days. It'll live there, but you can always go back and watch it live here on YouTube. And then, of course, the podcast episode will be on all major podcast platforms, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, SoundCloud, anywhere you choose to listen to your podcast. Speaking of Love is there. So thank you all so much for being here. Have a great weekend, everyone. And then also I have another episode. I'm doing a back-to-back episode today. A gentleman by the name of Jay, who also works with Maura, is coming on here today at 1:00 in about 30 minutes. I'm going to go live again with another episode, and he's going to talk more about the organization that he belongs to in terms of helping to put an end to CeaseFirePA. So I will speak with you all next time, and have a great day, everyone.
Thank you, Latoya.
Thank you.